Hey guys, so a while ago Pixi was kind enough to send me their 4 new palettes, 2 being eye palettes and 2 being face palettes, but the face palettes are the ones that have piqued my interest the most. They look like this, but if you guys would like to see swatches and a try on and hear my thoughts of these new face palettes from Pixi, then just keep watching. Okay, so the first palette that I have, this one is called Sugar Blossom. It has Blossom, Sugar, Rosewood, and Petal. So it looks like there's maybe 2 blush options and 2 highlight options, or a blush, a bronzer, and 2 blush toppers. However you want to play with it, totally up to you. That's what's so fun about makeup. And then this one is Honey Nectar, which looks like this. We have Honey Nectar. I think I'm reading these backwards. We have Nectar, Honey, Ambrosia, and Syrup. I don't know, regardless, that's the shade names. I'm gonna start off with Sugar Blossom, which looks like this. Ooh, look at these shades, guys. So we have the first blushy shade right here, a really bright Barbie pink. We've got that brown tone shade, which looks like a brown with more of like a hint of mauve. Now that I'm looking at the shade, I definitely would say this is a blush shade, not a bronzer shade. At first I thought this might be a blush, bronzer, and highlight palette, but I feel like these are probably both blush shades. Next we have the first highlight. Ooh, it's like an apricot with a hint of pink to it, really pretty. And then the final one is like an icy pink shade. Really nice shade. So now let's try the other one. Honey Nectar, which looks like this. Now in this one, I feel like there is definitely a bronzer shade, but we'll see. We have, it's more of like a bright corally pink blush. We have that bronzer shade, which to me definitely looks more like a bronzer shade than a blush, but some people like brown blushes. We have the first highlight, which looks like a straight up kind of yellow gold shade, and then we have that pink gold flip shade, really pretty. So again, here are the shades from the 2 face palettes. Okay, I think I want to start off with this more bronzery shade from the Honey Nectar palette and just see if we can get any kind of warmth to the cheekbones here. I'm getting a bronzer tone, but definitely has like some pink undertones to it. I'm not mad about it though. I mean, that looks pretty nice. I don't mind that it has like a slight pink tone underneath all of the brown. I kind of like that. Let's try it on the temples now. I feel like that's a very believable contour that looks a lot like a natural tan. So I am a big fan of this shade for adding a little dimension to the face. So far, so good. Okay, so I'm feeling nice and bronzy. Now I'd like to try the kind of like more mauve tan shade from the other palette. And I'm going to use a blush brush for this one. Yeah, that one adds like a mauve-y warmth to the cheeks that the bronzer alone didn't have. I think this is a really nice shade for, I would say, paler skin tones that like a little bit more of like a nude blush. So that's nice, but I also want to try the other 2 brighter ones. So with a different brush, I'm going to go in and grab this brighter shade. I think it's called Nectar. Ready? Okay, that's definitely bright and corally. Okay, that definitely amps up the cheeks a bit. They're much brighter. This side it's more like subdued, natural looking. This side's definitely like summertime, bright coral. I don't even think I'm going to be able to get away with using the pink, but we'll try that one on the other side. Very pigmented colors. And I'm just grazing the very tops of my cheeks with this pink. It's very bright. So for those of you with deeper skin tones, you will probably adore. Those of you with deeper skin tones will probably adore these brighter shades. For those of you with lighter skin tones, I think you'll probably love this mauvey brown and the contour shade. So there's definitely something in these palettes for every skin tone. Okay, so now that I've had a chance to powder down the color a little bit because it was a little intense. I mean, these shades are definitely strong. I've wiped them off and that bright pink is still there and the corally shade is still there. So a little goes a long way with these blushes. So now we have 4 highlights to pick from. Obviously, I love the lighter tones in here because I know that gold is not a color that is flattering on me. I like the pinky golds. I also really appreciate the champagnes. So I might try the pink and champagne shade and then the pinky gold shade, but I'm going to steer clear of the straight gold because it's never the right tone for me personally, but it is beautiful. I think I'm going to start off with the brightest one, which I think is going to be this light pink. Okay, that's very subtle. It's like a light dusting of a very light pink. It's not metallic, it's not glittery, it's not super shiny. It's very light. Now on the other side, I'd like to try from the same compact this like champagne-y shade, the sugar shade. Now I'm not sure if the base color on this one is going to be too deep for me, but that's why I'm going to try it for you guys so you will know and not have to make the mistake yourself. Okay, this one's more of like a apricot shade, which I think is what I said when I was swatching it. This one is not too dark for me. Just gives you a slight apricot hint. It reminds me of the MAC and Patrick Star highlight that came out in the teal case. That's what this one reminds me of. It would also be a great like all over color, I would say, because it's not so bright and shiny that you couldn't like dust it up here or on the bridge of the nose. Like it would be a nice all over shade, I would imagine. So now let's go back into the Honey Nectar palette and try this pink and gold flip one, which I am very curious to try. Definitely a strong pink color to it, so we'll see. Okay, I can definitely see more of the gold here. I'm not sure if you guys can see it, but as soon as I touched it down to as soon as I touched the brush to my skin, I saw the gold instantly pop out. So I think if you were going to use the two, I would say apply the pink and gold one first and then use the lighter, brighter pink one as like the highest point highlight. Okay, so my cheeks are pink and bronzy and glowy and I like the finished effect. So I really like the blushes. I would probably get use out of 3 out of the 4. I'm not sure how much use I will get out of this bright pink one unless I'm doing my daughter's makeup because as I mentioned before, she has a very deep brown complexion. So that would look beautiful on her along with some of the golder highlights. As far as the highlights go, I will probably use all of them except for this gold one. I just don't see me using this one much. It's just not a color that I reach for. Yeah, and it's a little bit more on the glittery side than the other ones. Of all of them, I think that this gold one has the most like little micro glitter particles to it. So for that reason also, I don't think that I'll be reaching for it. But I do think these are quite nice palettes. I really like the bronzer in this one. I really like the blush in this one. And the highlights are nice and smooth and flattering. I mean, you don't see a streak, you don't see chunks. So I am a big fan of these. I pretty much knew I would be. I love the Pixi and Rach Love's Layers palette. I've also loved some of the Pixi like duos that have come out in the past. So if you guys were on the fence about these, I would say pick them up, thumbs up. I would recommend. So I hope you guys enjoyed seeing the swatches, a try on, and hearing my first impressions and my thoughts on these new palettes from Pixi. If you guys enjoyed this video, remember to give it a thumbs up, subscribe to my channel, and as always, I will see you in the next video. Bye guys.